We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
This is an interview with Secretary of State Madeline Albright. At the time, she was Secretary of State. And this was dealing with sanctions that the Clinton administration, Madeline Albright was in the Clinton administration at the time, as Secretary of State and as the administration, was basically putting on Saddam Hussein. Now, the question that the newswoman was asking was, hey, all of these kids have died as a result of your sanctions. I mean, your sanctions are supposed to be targeted at Saddam, right? I mean, Saddam is a bad guy. He's the one that's the issue. You got 500,000 children, Iraqi children, innocent Iraqi children, killed as a result of your sanctions. Is that okay? Madeline Albright, once again, don't take my word for it. You can see her yourself talking about it. According to Madeline Albright, the price of 500,000 children dying. Not only did Iraq now have weapons of mass destruction, we ended up going to war anyway, killing upwards of 1 million Iraqis, or at the very least, resulting in nearly 1 million Iraqis dead. So, when you listen to what she is saying here, and she's being asked, hey, are 500,000 kids dead worth not accomplishing your objectives in Iraq?
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
There are more kids. Madeline Albright, Bill Clinton were responsible for more kids dying than the total number of casualties in Ukraine. Put that in perspective. We lavish so much attention on that, and yet Madeline Albright basically says nearly 1 million kids dead as a result of our policies. That is perfectly okay and acceptable. To make it even worse, again, when Clinton leaves, we end up in a war with the exact same country anyway. So this notion that 500,000 kids dying, being killed by our policies being worth it, is astonishing. If you want to say war criminal, if you want to say we love our monsters, you can say that. And this is a great example of how we are perfectly okay with our monsters in this country. And yet, if something like that happened because of somebody else, we would be apoplectic over it. But with her, Madeline Albright has dropped dead at 84. And in dropping dead at 84, you're going to see all sorts of flowery comments about her, how awesome she was, how she was pushing for U.S. interests, etc., etc. I will tell you this, regardless of the accomplishments and the things that a person accomplished in their life, whatever they want to call it, even if you want to look at it from a jaded perspective of what is in the greatest emancipatory interests of the United States, under normal circumstances, there are things that are on the negative part of that ledger that overwhelm and outweigh everything else that may be added to the positive side of that ledger, even with a jaded point of view of U.S. interests that requires a huge amount of context. Under any circumstances, with 500,000 kids dying as a result of your policies, I don't care what is on the other side of that ledger. I focus on that. It's interesting, however, that unfortunately, other groups that call themselves lefties and progressives don't focus on that and look at Madeline Albright as some kind of great gift. Anna Kasparian, looking at you.
Welcome to your MSC. I am delighted to be here and to have a conversation with the former U.S. Secretary of State under Bill Clinton, Madeline Albright. And Madeline Albright was actually the first female Secretary of State in the U.S., and it is a pleasure to have you here. It's an honor to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, Anna Kasparian believes it's an honor to have a conversation with somebody that got 500,000 kids killed. It's as if that Anna believes that just because she has a vagina, that the 500,000 kids matter less. Look, I don't care whether she has a vagina. I don't care if she had a penis. I don't care if she was a blue alien. If she was responsible for that many kids dying, I am going to look some way at her. And I'm going to look some way at you for not having that. as being the mainstay of your focus as you're talking to this person that was responsible in large part for 500,000 kids being killed. We will do a dive into Madeline Albright on the show on Fault Lines, but I definitely wanted to commemorate the end of this person's horrible life and the responsibilities that, or culpability that is ascribed to her and the things that she's done in this life. I don't care if she was a good grandma. I don't care if she was a great cricket player. I don't care if she could play chess or if she could recite every line of Star Trek going all the way back to the original series. I don't care. What I care about is that she was infinitely culpable in that much misery, that much death, that much disaster. And the things that she was trying to do by killing that many children wasn't even accomplished, considering we ended up going to war in the country anyway. Madeline Albright, dead, 84. And whatever you want to think about the death being a tragedy and everything else, I would put my focus and my concern on the number of people that she was responsible for getting killed. Her, Bill Clinton, and other people in that administration. My heart goes out to her family. Madeline Albright, dead. Like, share, subscribe.